So this is all about water. So water is the most abundant substance both in us and around us. So that's what we do really. See, here we do water, we think about water, we do water, and everything is about water. And the issue of water is really very long at Tufts. It started a long time ago, almost 10 years ago really, when the previous president was here. She wanted to start a university-wide initiative, and that started with this, what we call now water system science and society. So from there really we have become larger and larger. So there are many, many water students, water topics. So this is part of that. So here what we are saying that we, about a few years ago, we started something we called water diplomacy seminar, because that's what our previous provost wanted to do. See, we do something interdisciplinary, can we do this? So they invited some proposals to develop an experimental course. So Bill and I basically did that about like 4 years ago. So it was an experiment to see really whether how interdisciplinary things can be taught. And we still don't know. I think we did once, we are again doing it this time. And part of it really, I think we are fundamentally questioning some of the things that we understand as interdisciplinary. What it means it to be interdisciplinary. Just because, like I am in engineering, so I work with Bill, does that make it interdisciplinary? Or what are some of the key ingredients? So those are the type of questions we're asking, and we are glad that we have at least 6 very accomplished and brilliant students with us for the first cohort of the IGET that is funded through the National Science Foundation. This seminar is a part of that, basically, that we said that once a semester we'll do one talk on water. This is one of those. So we wanted to have someone else. OB was the vice president, and we also have some very strong relationship with World Bank, because World Bank has signed a memorandum of understanding with Tufts that they will work with us to educate students from Africa. So we'll come here as PhD students as a joint partnership. So we hope that will work, because she could not come because she had some family emergency and she's in Europe and Africa really now. We have Ed. So Ed is, I was told by Obi that he is the best man, and he is also with the bank for longer than Obi was. He has been with the bank for almost 13 years. He's the director of operations. He does all kinds of things in Africa, very familiar with the African water. So he'll be talking about the rethinking the challenges of Africa. Time is now, and we'll tell you why Africa is important really, not only in terms of water, but also in terms of other challenges.
I bring you warm introductions or greetings from the Vice President of the African region, that's Madam Obi, who was really looking forward to coming here. She said she's been here once to make a talk, and she was really looking forward to this, but she couldn't make it due to circumstances that Safik explained. So I'm glad to be here in our place, and to deliver this speech. It is not surprising that this wonderful institution, where thinking beyond boundaries and acting across borders is the norm, to now invite the World Bank to reflect on a global partnership. That is the partnership between your institution and the African region of the World Bank, which is intended to tackle the most important, challenging, complex world of water diplomacy. And later on, I'm going to really highlight some of the challenging and complex aspects of water diplomacy. I want to share with you some ideas on how I hope that your university and the World Bank will partner together, and how that partnership will continue to evolve. But before that, I want to take a few moments to talk about the strengths of the water diplomacy program and share my thoughts on how I see the water diplomacy program having an impact on 2 important challenges that we face today in the development world and in water in Africa in particular. And what are those 2 challenges? They are about managing shared sovereignty and delivering the demand of citizens for accountable state. Citizens all over the world now are demanding for a state that derives its legitimacy from listening to the citizens, responding to their concerns, meeting their needs, and being fully transparent in all their dealings. So I'm going to be talking about these two aspects of water diplomacy. How do we manage shared sovereignty, and how do we also get this state to be more responsive to the demands of the citizens? First, let's talk about the program here. We'd like to congratulate you on the introduction of the water diplomacy program. The strengths of this program, as we see it, lie in 4 important dimensions. First is the program's important focus on water. From the perspective of the life of a human being, nothing can be probably more important than water. I don't know for how long we can survive without water. You could have chosen many areas, climate change, which is very topical, conflict in Africa, it's also topical, or urbanization. I mean, there are many other topics you could have chosen, but you chose water, and water is very important. So this is a very strategic choice that you have made, and there are many reasons why this choice is strategic. But let me just give you one illustration. The world's population is expected to grow from 7 billion to 9 billion by 2050. There are many things that will be affected by this growth. But very importantly, this is going to raise the demand on water. But we do have a limited amount of water. Therefore, enhanced management of water, including regional joint management of water, is going to be critical. And the challenge is, how do you do that? And do that in a way that you are able to avoid conflict and also be responsive to the voice of the citizens. Second, the program's emphasis on combining theory and practice across disciplines, such as politics, economics, and engineering, really make this to be a realistic program. You have rejected narrow disciplinary silos. You have recognized that change happens where boundaries, sectors, and disciplines cross and overlap. And what the program is essentially doing is exploiting the synergistic strengths that exist in this overlap. We know from the various work that we have been doing, both at the World Bank and I believe in other places, that disciplinary silos can be suboptimal. And increasingly in the work that we do at the bank, we're placing an emphasis on multi-sectoriality. That is going beyond just one sector or one discipline and looking at things from a broad range of sectors and disciplines that will have impact on what you are trying to do. For instance, the program's reliance on networks of knowledge and research. We have left behind the world of teachers and students engaging in hierarchical methods of learning. Today, learning is through networks, through sharing, and exchanges with peers. And thanks to the rapid development of ICT, these things are easier to do these days than they were, say, 10 years or 15 years ago. Fourth, the program's ambition to prepare the next generation of water scholars. Nothing can substitute the power of investing in future generations in a world that is evolving so rapidly. So essentially what the program is going to do is to be able to impact on and help shape the future. And so now let's turn to the water diplomacy challenges that need to be tackled. First, let's begin with the question. Why does water diplomacy matter, especially for sub-Saharan Africa? Firstly, it is an issue of managing international water basins. Some facts and figures will drive home the point. To begin with, the African continent has more than 60 international river basins. 60. West and Central Africa alone have more than 30 international river basins. Africa has more international rivers shared by 3 or more countries than any other continent in the world. 70% of the population in Africa is reliant on a number of transboundary rivers. All major lakes are shared by 2 or more countries. We will need to make our cities more efficient in their management of water, especially in this urbanizing world. And we may have to invest in a social compact to support, if needed, the resettlement of people away from areas that will be prone to flooding or threatened by rising sea levels, and in areas increasingly deprived of fresh water. Climate change thus places water squarely in the heart of the development challenge we are facing and will increasingly face, and necessitate that we urgently begin to address issues of infrastructure investment, technology and innovation, urbanization and social compacts around displacement, all related to water in a very systematic way. Importantly, it will aggravate the challenges around shared sovereignty and accountability of the states. These development challenges place the Tufts University and the water diplomacy program in a strong place to be able to help develop capacities, especially Africa capacities, that will inform and influence the debate and dialogue around how water and development more broadly will be managed under the increasing uncertainty created by climate change. For this reason, I wish to reiterate that I'm very delighted about our new partnership. That is the partnership between your university and the World Bank around the water diplomacy program, which is something we value and for which we have high expectation of what we can jointly achieve. The new World Bank strategy for Africa is based on 3 important dimensions: partnership, knowledge, and finance. And why the order is very important. It's partnership first, knowledge, and then finance. We recognize that banks' financing today is increasingly playing a supportive role to ensure that Africa has access to partnerships and global knowledge as countries in Africa craft and manage their own development strategies. We see ourselves less as a financier, although we still call the World Bank, and more as a broker of global experience and capacity support to our clients to fulfill our vision of a world without poverty. So I see the partnership between your university and the World Bank as an important partnership by the bank with a university on water through this lens. As a first step, we have agreed to ensure that your doctoral program in water diplomacy will bring to Tufts some of the best and talented African students, scholars, and practitioners. And we have also agreed to plug them and your other students into the bank's internship program and provide them access to our work on water to expand the focus on research, evaluation, and joint learning. And I must explain that our work on water is not just about preparing projects and supervising or supporting their implementation in various aspects related to water, but we also do a lot of knowledge work, what we call economic and sector work on water. But I would like us to be more ambitious than what I've just been described. We should explore the possibility of directly linking a network of universities and think tanks in Africa to Tufts, and through Tufts to other academic and policy institutions in the US and elsewhere. So essentially, we're thinking of a situation where this university can kind of broker an arrangement that will connect Africa universities and think tanks to this university and also help link them to the rest of the world. The idea will be to support the capacity of Africa to address the water challenge in a global context and in real time. And as you heard earlier on, the challenge in Africa is great. I mean, considering the fact that 24 countries, that's 50% of the countries in Africa will not achieve the Millennium Development Goals on access to water by 2015. I will ask my colleagues at the World Bank to put together a team to meet with you and explore the modalities of how this partnership can evolve gradually but firmly to serve the needs of Africa and Africans. In a globalizing world, knowledge and solutions will emerge from the power of sharing and exchanges. And as we engage in that partnership, we will be able to build global coalitions for change. Access to water in a world buffeted by the challenges of climate change, shared sovereignty, and demands for accountability of the states demands such a focus. I'm confident that Tufts University and the Water Diplomacy Program can play a leadership role in bringing a transformation to the way we think and act on water. You can count on the World Bank to be your partner in this process of change. Once again, thank you for inviting the World Bank to address you this afternoon. Thanks for your attention.